Laura Casey is the founder of the Cake Detective charity. They produce epic birthday cakes for children who may be experiencing hardship, neglect, serious illness, or family violence. She is a wife and a mother of 2 gorgeous boys. Today in our kōrero, we talk about mental health, about losing people that you love, and all things founding a charity, including how to create boundaries to protect yourself. Let's get into it. Thank you so much for having us today in your beautiful home, and we may talk about some Lego that's sitting behind us a little bit later, but let's kick into it. So tell us about you and where you grew up and the early life of Laura.
So I grew up in Matamata, born and bred, I've got a brother who is 18 months older than me, and we just went through school in Matamata, just a normal rural town sort of life. Yeah. Changed schools, actually went to Cambridge. Yeah. Partway through, my father owned a menswear store and my mum was a school teacher.
Did you work in the store?
My brother did more than me.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad went on a couple of overseas trips. Yeah. And left us in charge. Brett managed better than I did. I was just out gallivanting around.
I was going to say not dressing them up in funny dress up.
No.
Now, when you were 22, you lost your mum to breast cancer. So talk to us about that and how that's shaped your journey as you've moved forward.
Losing mum has impacted on my life in a huge number of ways, I would say. The trauma of being a 20-year-old thinking that you're an adult and finding out your mum has breast cancer and going through the process of mastectomies and chemo and radiation, and then ending up to lose her, thinking you're an adult, but actually emotionally and intelligently I wasn't. And so that hugely impacted on my life, and I went overseas, and things like Christmas and all that kind of stuff, no one's got their parents or their family or anyone, so you don't notice that. You notice it when you come back and they're not at the airport to see you, but you don't notice it. And so I think I sort of went through life overseas and a little bit, like obviously I still grieved for my mother, but it wasn't as impactful as it was when I got home. And I think the time in your life that you need your mum the most is when you have kids. And so that had a huge impact on me again when I had my boys. Not having her here, not having that support or asking what I was like, or because I was 22, I didn't ask questions about that kind of stuff. It wasn't even in my mind. And so, that impacted, how I see the world, I guess, and how I treat other people and how I feel that life is, not something that you can take for granted.
Yeah.
And that people always have stuff going on that is often, that you can't see it, or you don't know about the traumas or, whatever's happened in their lives that has shaped them to be who they are.
Yeah, approach people with grace, and just a bit of common courtesy is not the right word, but understanding, and just you never ever know what's going on with somebody else, and it's not their business to tell. They don't have to tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
I've just read a book recently by Adam Grant and Sheryl Sandberg. She's the CEO of Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And she lost her husband. This is so digressing. This is what I do. And they've written a book about grief. It's called Option B, and it was a really interesting book. We've lost a lot of family members over the years, but I still have my mum and dad, and the advice in it was really beautiful, I thought. But from your perspective as a 20-year-old or 22-year-old, what advice could you give to people who are supporting people who lose somebody they love that's so pivotal in their life?
Just be there, I think, is, I had different people treat me differently. I was with my current husband, my only husband at the time, and he just allowed me to be whatever. If I was angry or crying, or he just let me be and was there to support me. And then I had like my boss at work, I'd sit there and be crying, doing my work, and he'd just ignore the fact I was crying and just talk to me about, oh, have you, seen this account or whatever. And that was the best thing he could have done. Like, I knew that he cared because we were friends, but he just ignored, the grief that was there. And it does get, it's not all consuming. Yeah. That first year, it's all consuming. I saw once a thing, and it said when someone dies, when you lose someone, that is your whole, they know your whole entire world. Yeah. And that then as life grows, they've missed out on that, and so it doesn't feel so like impactful. My friends that I have now, most of them never knew my mother. My kids don't know never met mum. I do the cake detective. Mum's never known about that. So like all of those things that aren't, that grow outside after that sort of makes it easier, I guess. Yeah. But it's still there. It's just always there. Yeah. And it's evident in things like Grandparents' Day or birthdays or weddings or, that kind of.
Even those Father's Day and Mother's Day posts and, all those kind of things, I try and be really mindful.
Yeah, and people are more and more now. I received emails this year from, I think it was like Canva, and it said, do you want to opt in or opt out of seeing Mother's Day stuff? And I thought that was incredible.
That is.
Yeah.
Go Canva.
Yeah.
That's really important, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. I didn't know they did that. That's very cool. Now, when we caught up, we talked about making cakes and how, because I said a lot of mine can go sideways, but it's the effort that you put in. And that's what we remember. The kids remember more so than how glamorous the cake was. And you remember your mum staying up late nights to make your and your brother's cakes. So did that have an impact on you coming into the Cake Detective? Or, talk to us about that.
Yeah, definitely. Brett and I always chose our books out of the Women's Weekly birthday book. And we'd, for ages, we'd flick through even when it wasn't our birthdays, we'd flick through the pages trying to decide what we'd want. And it was just, the cake was a cake. We loved, choosing and stuff, but it was more around how special and loved we felt at that time. Like, we knew that we were being celebrated for being us, and it was, it wasn't like a big monetary thing where we got extravagant cake and lots of presents and all that kind of stuff. It was just literally having our family around and blowing out the candles and having grandparents there and all that kind of stuff that made us feel really special. And that was at the start when I had my boys, realising that other children didn't have parents like I did, but obviously later that it sort of, that part plays a massive part in why I do what I do.
So through the Cake Detective, you have connected to some amazing humans and amazing groups who are all very like-minded, like NGOs who are trying to make a difference in other people's lives. So talk to us about that community that you're connected to.
It's like one of the best unexpected outcomes of being in the Cake Detective is meeting all of these different agencies and people that are wanting to just make a difference in whatever way they can. Yep. And it's really empowering going to the conferences or the hui's and everyone's there on the same page, knowing that, especially at the minute, life is getting really, really hard for lots of people, and the hardships that people are going through. Everyone understands that, but everyone comes together for one cause, basically, and that is to make the community a better place for everyone, not just some people. And people are doing amazing work, and they just work their hearts out and give everything they can to just making other people's lives a better place. And it's all of those people inspire me hugely. Yeah, they're amazing.
And it's cool now, from a charity background as well, that people are working together. For a long time we were really siloed, and it was almost competitive to a point because there's funding involved, resources, and it feels like there's never enough. And so it's so awesome to see the shift now, that it's how can we actually best use our resources, and the best way is doing it together and not doubling up in areas, and I'm sure you would have found that.
Yeah,
as well.
there's lots of, I'm sure there still is, different agencies competing for the same contracts, government contracts. But we're in a unique situation where we just offer all of the agencies something amazing to give to the children. But yeah, and things like Here to Help You, where they, everyone comes together and it, so that you work and they have one conversation with someone and sort of have a whole wraparound.
Yep.
And that's just incredible because often when you talk to people sort of in these situations, the amount of phone calls and forms and all of that kind of stuff that they need to do over and over and over again and get declined over and over and over again, it takes its toll.
Yeah.
So for them just to go to one place or one agency and have more of a wraparound system is why they haven't done it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems obvious.
We spoke with Edana, who was part of creating that a while ago. I can't remember my dates, Edana. And just hearing about it, you're like, exactly. Why didn't we do this sooner for people? Because the help is there, and if we make it too hard, that accessibility is, we're not doing right by people see it. Which is very, very cool. Now, how can people support the kaupapa that you're doing? How can we get involved?
So if you can decorate cakes, you can
Other than that,
you can come along and volunteer. People can donate financially. So when people donate $50, we take that $50 and donate a cake on their behalf. And so we send you out the photo of the cake and where it's gone and not all of the specifics, but you get a general idea of, where your money has actually gone, because it all goes directly back into cakes. Follow us, like us, talk about us. Yeah. The awareness is a huge part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think another thing too to hopefully take away from today is don't take those moments for granted when people do put time in to create. I make my children cakes, etc. But my mum, shout out Raymond, I actually forget that she bakes for our family. I don't take it for granted. I do. I take it for granted, and you're kind of like, thank you, but it's actually it's a massive gift that they've taken their time to do that. So it's appreciating those moments that people have stopped to do that for you. I think, and liking the things that you're putting up, each cake that you share, it's going to help you guys to get more funding, to get more people seeing your page, to get the reach that you need. So if you can't financially contribute and you're not talented cake maker, that's the stuff that's really easy. Just like it and share it and talk about it to your friend at lunch at work.
And because you just never know who you might talk to or who it strikes a chord with, that they might, work somewhere or know something that might help us or
Do you have big goal, so from where you are now with Cake Detective, do you have things that you're working towards?
Not specifically. We have a strategy meeting coming up in January.
Yeah.
I would love to try and reach all of the children that our agencies in our area have. I don't know if that's ever possible. The more kids we can support and bring joy to, the better. I mean, ideally, we wouldn't exist because everyone would be having birthday cakes and all of that kind of stuff. So,
So your goal is to put yourself out of business effectively.
Yeah, which I think probably the majority of charities that would be,
That's the ideal, eh?
Yeah.
And also that self-perpetuating thing, how can we then teach families to do those things for their families if they haven't had that tradition themselves?
Yeah, so we have had a few bake days for the kids because as a child, I always baked with mum, my boys bake with me, and it just, that's part of what you know.
Yeah.
And so we've been doing that with some of the kids and things. Cool. And we've had ideas around making cake boxes and stuff so that actually the parents can take them away and do them. Some of our kids that we support have only just got electricity when COVID came because they were down in the Uraweras and lived off the grid and stuff, and so they didn't have baking facilities, bake a cake. So, and now they love baking.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impactful. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Hope you check in with that each day and be like, man, Man, the stuff we're doing is cool. Now, for lots of people, getting up at 5 o'clock every day would be like corporal punishment. But for you, this is what you do. So talk to us about what you do of waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I wake up at 4:40, get dressed, go to the gym. I go to one of those gyms where they just tell you what to do.
Yep.
And I'm done by 6. I have like half an hour of quiet before the boys wake up. It's just what I do. It just sets me up. Even if I don't feel like going, I go more for my mental health than my physical health. Well, both, but yeah. And if I don't go in the morning, I just would make up an excuse and not go.
Yep.
But so now even on the weekends when the gym's not open, I still wake up at that time because
that's your habit that you've created. Yeah. Do you go for a walk or anything instead?
No.
But she's awake.
Awake thinking about all the things I need to do.
That is very cool. I tell you what, there's a lot to be said for that quiet time before the storm happens, right? Every day, like even if you just get 10 minutes of just that you feel organised and that you've just got 10 minutes before the first one rocks out, like there's a lot to be said for that instead of being on the back foot of kind of chasing from the get-go. Yeah.
If I see that the lights are on out here when I get home, I sit in the car and do, there's an app called Aura and it has like meditation and stuff on it. I sit in the car and do that before I come into the house, which is like, that gives me a couple of minutes before I...
Into the rush.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea. I've never heard of that app. That's very cool. Now, I think we both agree on this. There's a really unnecessary stigma around mental health, and that's part of the journey that we're on with the Good Day Matrix, is to try and have as many conversations as we can, not to normalise, because I even hate that word as well. It's, but this is just part of who we are. And I spoke with Karen Covell from Progress to Health a while ago, and she said one of her first things she likes to say when she speaks publicly is, everyone has mental health. And so many immediately regress and they're like, oh, no, like, not everyone. She said everybody has, and it's something that we need to discuss, and it's something that we need to acknowledge about the people we work with and live with and love all the time. So you do something for yourself and you think everybody should do this as well. So talk to us about what you do for you.
So I... just to take a step back, when the morning that Mum died, I had my first ever panic attack. And then I had a few more when I was in London, and then a lot more after I had my kids. And when I was when I first moved to Auckland, before Mum got sick, I started seeing a therapist, and I saw her every week. And then my mum got sick, and then she died, and I just kept on seeing her until pretty much the day I flew out. To London. And then after I've had the boys, now I see her again every week. And I don't know, I feel like it's important to have someone from an outside perspective to sort of clarify things or just see things differently to how you see them. And it's hugely helpful. And we talk about all sorts of things. We were talking the other day about taking gambling money from like lotteries, grants and things, and it just morphs into different, conversations, and it's all really important. And I noticed a huge difference.
Very cool. This is a silly question and novice question from me, but what does a panic attack feel like? Can you? Is there a way to describe what that feels like when it's happening?
Feels like I presume it feels like what a heart attack feels like.
Wow.
Because lots of people that are of that age go to the hospital because they're having a heart attack, but they're actually having a panic attack. So I get like my heart races, I get sweaty, and I just need to. It's like that fight or flight. I need to get out.
Wow. And can you verbally tell someone that it's happened? Like,
Rory will know.
Okay.
People know, like it's obvious, I think.
Wow.
But I need Rory. Rory knows because he knows me well, I guess. But
And so seeing her has helped you sort of have strategies to manage that, or is it more the pre-work so that they don't happen?
Yeah, more the pre-work so that they don't happen. I've had other before I went back to see her, I had some, I talked to another lady based out in Tamahere around, like grounding, like when you're in it, grounding techniques that you have to practice when you're not in it.
Yeah.
So that when you're in it, like the 5 things you can touch, 5 things you can see, 5 things you can feel. Yeah.
Interesting. Sorry, I asked
it's hard. It's hard when you're in it. To come out of it.
Yeah. And it is. It's all that practice stuff, right?
Yeah.
Once your brain shuts off, you can't be like, I know what I need right now. It's da. Yeah. And does Rory also know, like, right, if that's happening, I know she needs this, this, and this. Like, do you talk about it before it?
Yeah, I guess so. I just tell them to talk about something.
Yeah.
That's not
related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he talks about stuff I don't understand. Maths, golf.
Yes. My husband is like, get him to tell me about building stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Build it.
Yeah.
I'm like, tell me about architraves.
Yeah.
Take me
somewhere
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that, because it's just, I think it's really interesting for people who haven't had that happen before to understand just a little bit about it, and that might just start a conversation with someone to even just stop joking about having panic attacks.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're like, oh my God, I'm having a panic attack. But it's not actually something to joke about, or it's more something to understand.
You'd know.
Yeah. That's really interesting. That's so physical. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're decorating cakes, you also listen to audiobooks. So talk to us about what that does for your mind.
It's like, I feel like that it's my happy place, being in the kitchen, decorating. When it's a good book, like I'd just stay there for longer. Or even I don't mind doing like laundry and things if I've got a good book in my ears.
Yeah.
Because it just takes you somewhere else.
Yeah.
And because lots of those, making cakes and stuff so automatic now that it's easy to listen at the same time.
And when you've got other people working, because I imagine your volunteers or your other team are working around you, does that like distract you from the audio? Like, because I find even my kids, if they come near me and listen to an audiobook, I'm like, and I'm trying to find the pause button because I've already lost 2 sentences.
When they come in, because we usually all come in at the same kind of time, I don't know, I converse with them and that kind of stuff. But then everyone seems to go into that state of like working. So then I put it in. And because the mixers are going and all that, it's quite loud in there anyway. So people don't talk to me, or I just turn it off. Or,
just do that.
Yeah.
Now, founding a charity, we did this as well in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And there is so much hidden mahi in the mahi that people, like, you make cakes for children, that's the surface.
Yeah.
And no one really sees that. So talk to us about the biggest learnings that you've had since founding a charity.
I think the biggest things would be around like how much time you spend chasing a dollar. Like, I almost feel like I spend more of my time doing that than not.
Yeah.
Probably the thing I've learnt most is around relationships and how important those are, and connecting with people and talking to people and just letting them know what we do, and that Hamilton's actually quite a small community. That I've learnt that other people are willing to help. You need to do it all on your own, because at some stage when things grow, you can't do it all on your own. So it's good to spread out the workload.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much more to it than I ever expected.
Yeah. Something I got told early on, because I hate it. It feels like you're asking for money. Like, it just it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And something someone told me early on was, just remember, you're not asking for you, you're asking for the person you're helping. So to see that child who's about to get that cake, or now what we were trying to do is around children's accessibility to sport, and trying to get buses for free for kids to get to the sports they need with their mums or dads or a support person. And you'd often, I'd get uncomfortable going, oh God, I've got to go and pitch this kind of thing. It's actually, no, I can see the kid who's missing out on Saturday sport because we're not doing this, and that's the same for you guys is to try and shift that mindset to, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for the impact we can have on these kids' lives.
I think it's made it, as Kiwis, we don't like to talk about ourselves or that kind of stuff, but you have to sort of sell yourself and sell your charity so that the people then will give to it. But I find it much easier now that we're a larger organisation of volunteers and things. When I talk about the Cake Detective, I'm not talking about me individually now. I'm talking about a we, and so that's so much more easier now than at the start when I felt like I was talking about myself.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a hard thing to do.
Yeah. So have you had to set any boundaries for yourself as well? Because the work is endless if you let it be endless. Yeah. So what kind of boundaries have you had to set up for yourself to take care of you?
I have this, our administrator, Kim, she says no to people so that I don't have to, which has been an amazing thing. We set up timing so that unless the child is in a safe house or with hospice, that we don't take any referrals within 2 weeks. Okay. And so we can sort of close numbers if it just gets crazy, because otherwise it was just, can you do a cake tomorrow? And it's too much. Yep. Now that we have more volunteers, I have days where I don't have to go into the kitchen. And I try really hard now when the boys get home from school to not do work, Cake Detective work, until they go to bed, and then I do it again. Yeah. But yeah, just so that they're the most important thing. Yeah. So but it definitely can creep in. Yeah. Yeah, and it is hard because it's your passion. Yeah. And you're making a difference. And so that, it's probably exactly the same as a person who owns their own business, and it's, if I don't do that though, we miss out on this, or there's this deadline for, but I think those boundaries, they've got to be a bit flexy, but they've got to be some non-negotiables too, just to take care of you. Yeah. Your whānau in the middle of it all. Yeah. This has been so cool. All right, I've got some quick fires for you. All right. Go. If you could have dinner with any 3 people in the world, past or current, who would they be? My mum and Cooper and Cormac, my 2 boys. Because how cool would that be?
Wicked.
They got to meet each other.
Coolest answer. So true. What's your favourite smell?
Cut grass, I'd say. Cut grass, maybe the smell of a beer. No, not cakes. I don't feel like I can't smell them anymore. People come into the kitchen things and they say, oh, it smells so good, and I can't smell it. That's good. I've just got used to it. It smells good, you want to eat it all the time. What song is currently on repeat on your playlist? The
Pepeha by 660. 660. Yep.
Love that song.
What are 3 of your favourite books?
I Am Pilgrim.
Yep.
Where the Crawdads sing?
Yes, yeah.
And maybe The Hobbit.
Oh yeah,
I like The Hobbit.
Where the Crawdad sings, man, twist.
I know.
Twist. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
It's not very positive, but when you're going through hell, keep going. Winston Churchill. He's got lots of goodies.
Yeah, he does. Where or what is your favourite hidden gem in Aotearoa?
The place that makes me feel like most relaxed is probably at Whangarua, where I used to go spend all my time as a kid.
Yeah.
That's where it feels.
Nice.
Or driving down Wahara straight into Matamata.
Yeah.
Feels like I'm home.
Like you're home. Yeah.
Which is just a random road, but...
No, there's a lot to be said for it. Yep, I understand. What are some qualities you love about yourself?
I am kind, empathetic, possibly too empathetic sometimes, honest, passionate about what I believe in. It's a hard question.
You did really well. Sometimes we just sit here in awkward silence and I'm like, I'm going to sit here as long as it takes. That was awesome. And those are so evident in just meeting you a couple of times, and from what I hear from Sammy, who's behind the camera, those are absolutely evident, and I'm sure most people would say that about you as well. So that's very cool. We have a wellbeing card to finish. So you're going to pick a random card to answer. So if you can read it out and then tell us your answer.
Wow, what one thing have you not done that you really want to do? Travel with my kids.
Cool.
We haven't been overseas yet, so
Where do you want to take them?
Disneyland maybe.
Yes.
We went there as kids and we just had the best time.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. This has been such a fun interview and so many amazing learnings that people will be able to take away from this to just be more empathetic to other humans, I think. So thank you so much for being so honest with us and open and sharing your amazing journey, and support the Cake Detective. Please have a look. If you can donate. If you can volunteer your time, please do. If you can share the posts or follow their page, do that as well, because you guys are doing awesome mahi. So thank you so much, and thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Ka kite.